Boisei, let's go for it. Pas Haba, bekisna, pizza, Kiddish, mezonos, Homotzi. What's the story? Let's get rolling. So this shiur should be Schos Lefu Shalema, Ramosha, Ben Yehudis Malka. Schos Lefu Shalema. Okay, there is a Gemara in Brachos Membez Men Aleph. Rav Huna, he ate a large amount. You know, Rav Huna knew how to eat a little bit. He ate a large amount of mezonos type products, and he didn't bench. So Rav Nachman questioned his behavior and says, Rav Huna, what's going on here? What are you not benching? That's enough that other people consider a meal. Be medayik that? It's enough that other people are consider a meal. You need a bench. And the Gemara doesn't continue that story, but the Gemara leads off. It seems like Rav Nachman was right in his criticism, because Rav Huna doesn't fire anything back. Weiter. Then the next couple lines of the Gemara, Rav Yehuda, he made a wedding for his son. And he hears people saying Homotzi. He says, what's this tzit that I hear? What are you guys saying Homotzi? You know, we don't paskin like Rav Muna, who says that you go and make a Homotzi and Pas Haba bekisna. We don't paskin like Rav Muna. What are you doing over here? Rav Muna. Yeah, Mem Vav Nun Hey. We don't pass like Rav Muna, who says that we bench a Pas Haba bekisna. So what are you making a Homotzi for? And they answer, no, we're not making a Homotzi because of the Pas Haba bekisna element. We're making a Homotzi. It's like your shita, because you said when it came to Erev Chatzeros that you could take the wafers and the cooked foods and you can combine them to reach a shiur, and that for that you have to bench. So as you see that Pas Haba bekisna can count as a meal. So we're following you when we go, Rav Yehuda, when we're making this Homotzi. We're your Talmidim. And he answers, whoever wants, and he answers that, no, you guys got it all wrong. There is a fundamental difference between the case of Erev Chatzeros and this case. They, by Erev Chatzeros, that was a Kfiyah Suda. So by Kfiyah Suda, Pas Haba bekisna, there you make a Homotzi. So when you're having a Suda, Pas Haba bekisna, you make Homotzi. Over here, this isn't Kfiyah Suda apparently, and therefore there's no Homotzi. And that's how the sugya goes. Now, I just, as a side point, as a tzarachin, this was a wedding for his son. You would think at a chasana they would have Kfiyah Suda. Maybe this was like the shmorg part, and they didn't have Kfiyah Suda at that point. I don't know what's going on. Maybe Rav Yehuda is being a little cheap on the wedding.
Maybe it was in the Kiddish and not the Nisun.
Aha. It says, it's not mashma, it says a Suda. It's mashma, there's a Suda. There was some Suda going on there. But maybe it's Suzeris, I don't know, it's just interesting. I'm just living in Sarachin, but it's interesting that he was serving a Suda for this occasion of the wedding, and he didn't bother having something that was a Kfiyah Suda. It's Pas Haba bekisna, not Kfiyah Suda. It's like, I'm marrying off my son, have some ragalach. You know those guys who make a shvachas siyum after spending a year learning ksubis, and they say, here's some ragalach? So that's what it sounds like. I don't like it. Okay, fine. But maybe I'm proving, maybe there's a right that it is good, actually. Fine. So now the Gemara is seemingly coming out that the bracha on Pas Haba bekisna is mezonos, but if you're Kaveh Suda, it is Homotzi. Let's go forward to the Shulchan Aruch. So the Shulchan Aruch, Orach Chaim, Kuf Samches Vav, says like this. The bracha, as in line with this Gemara, the bracha on Pas Haba bekisna is bar minei mezonos. Afterwards, you make a alamichia. Now, if you ate the amount that others are kaveh suda, then the bracha is Homotzi. So that's following the lines of the Gemara very well. You ate the amount that others eat as a suda, the bracha is Homotzi. And you bench. The Shulchan Aruch reiterates, this is based on, what says it a second time, he throws it in there, what others are kaveh suda, not you personally. So I don't care if you only eat a little bit, or if you normally eat a ton to fill up. When you ate the amount that others treat as a meal, that is Homotzi. The Mishnah Berurah explains, so what is this? So the shiur is what people normally fill up on. Meaning, let's say, I guess you're in a place where, what I don't know, what is he adding there? It seems to be, let's say people normally fresh in kamayu, and they go way past the filling up. Filling up would be enough, seemingly. Or maybe it's the other way, that if people are poor, they don't eat a lot, and they normally eat less than the fill-up point, maybe that wouldn't be good enough. It's the amount that people fill up on. Whether I'm making too big of a diak or not, I'm not sure whether I'm over being medayik or not, but maybe. Now, the Mishnah Berurah brings the Gra, who says that the amount one eats for his morning or evening meal. So back in the day, you used to have 2 meals, and it used to be based on what the normal people ate in such a place. Now, the Mishnah Berurah quotes Kama Achrayim. We'll quote who these Kama Achrayim are in a minute, but he quotes Kama Achrayim, and maybe I'll just say who they are now. The El Yerabe, the Maxis Shekel, or Rekiva Eger, and the Kaf HaChaim all say it's between 3 and 4 beitzim is the amount. You have 3 or 4 beitzim, it's just a set amount. I don't care what the people eat in that place. 3 to 4 beitzim, that is Kviyas Suda. By the way, a beitza is 2 kazaisim. So 3 or 4 beitzim is somewhere between 6 and 8 kazaisim. All right? We'll discuss a little bit later what that is, but that is what we call Kviyas Suda. You eat that amount of Pas Haba bekisna, which we'll discuss, we'll explain in a minute what Pas Haba bekisna is. That would be a Homotzi. Okay, fine. 6 to 8 kazaisim, 3 to 4 beitzim. Okay, but not everybody holds of that exact shiur, as we'll see in a second. Now, fine. Now the Mishnah Berurah, by the way, points out that his ikar shita that he's going like is like the gra. It's like the full size meal that people eat in that place. However, if you already hit 4 beitzim, he takes the larger side of those Kama Achrayim. Once you hit 4 beitzim, then it's good to be machmir, not to get yourself to the 4 beitzim point without being part of a meal, without benching. Meaning, I guess 4 beitzim was less than what most people normally ate. So don't get yourself in that middle zone where you ate 4 beitzim. Therefore, according to this Kama Achrayim, you're going to need a bench. But according to the Gra and how the Mishnah Berurah Be'etzim Pasins, you don't need a bench. So it's good to be machmir. You don't have to be machmir. It's good to be machmir. However, if it's something which is a suffix, whether it's pas haba bekisna, it's something that's debatable if it's pas haba bekisna, then you vaday should be machmir, not to get yourself into a matzav where you ate 4 kibbetzim. So if it's something that is debatable, is it pas haba bekisna, is it not? Don't get yourself into a matzav where you have 4 kibbetzim, because now you're going to be in a suffix of whether or not to bench. Okay, so that's how the Mishnah Berurah lines up the sugya. Now, also just to point out, this thing of Kviyas Suda, I should have said this earlier, but I'm going to say it now. The Ravid says it's based on, Kviyas Suda is based on your personal habits and your personal intention. Am I eating this as a Suda right now? Am I eating this as a snack? However, the Rush says it goes by the amount that a normal person eats. That happens to be, I understand what the Ravid is saying from Svara, because in Svara, who cares what everybody else is doing? It should make a difference what I'm doing. Am I eating it as a snack, or am I eating it as a meal? However, I think the Gemara is clearly mashma like the Rush. As we pointed out, the wording in the Gemara before, that this is what other people eat. So the wording of the Gemara is more meduik like the Rush, even though I think the Svara sounds more like the Ravid. It works more, to me at least, like the Ravid. But the Meisa, the Mishnah Berurah is clearly going, the Shulchan Aruch, Mishnah Berurah, they are going like the Rush, that it goes by what other people eat. Okay, fine. The Shulchan Aruch Rab, by the way, says it's 6 beitzim, because he says 3 beitzim is the minimum amount to have as a meal. Normal people eat double the 3 beitzim, so therefore 6 beitzim is what's considered Kviyas Suda. The Aruch HaShulchan comes to save the day. Don't worry, we have the Aruch HaShulchan to rely on over here. 21 beitzim. And when you're done eating 21 beitzim, and we wheel you out of the hospital in that wheelchair with that big pot belly, you know what I'm saying? You see, maybe it's not that bad. I might be overdoing it a little bit, because you could get the 21 beitzim, but 21 beitzim is a fest to share. You know what I'm saying? You have to eat well to get yourself to 21 beitzim. Yeah, I'm saying we're talking about like not a Yerushalayim Dika Kiddish. We're talking about 5 towns, Lakewood. We're talking about a Geshmaka Kiddish. No, I'm saying you know what the Kiddishim look like. You can't walk out of there with less than 21 kibbetzim, you know. In Yerushalayim Kiddish, it's very hard to get to 21 kibbetzim, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Right. Yes, correct. So we'll get to Yerushalayim Kiddish in a minute. They have some Kiddushim. Exactly. We'll get there soon. Not so soon. Okay, I heard the Rav Usher Weiss. Somebody told me the Rav Usher Weiss says that we define kfiyas suda by your style of eating. If you're sitting down to eat it as a proper meal, that's considered kfiyas suda. And however, if you're going and you're eating it standing up, you're eating it while you're busy with something else, that's not considered kfiyas suda. Now, once again, I hear that in Svara, but I'd be very surprised. I was very surprised to hear that. I'm not sure if it's a misquote or a real quote, but I'm very surprised to hear it because the whole sugya goes like the Rosh, and all the poskim all go like the Rosh, that it's based on what the amounts that people eat. It's not based on your personal habits, and therefore I found it very if it is a proper quote, I find it very surprising.
Even if you're walking.
Yeah, the Rosh would apply to the main difference if you're walking. It makes what you eat. If you eat that amount, you eat the amount that others people eat.
Yeah, but the way you eat it is Megala if you want to be Korea or not. You're just walking in the
I don't. The Rosh, I don't care if you want to be kaveya. It's a mitzias. That is kaveya. That amount is kaveya.
That's the amount. Meaning, if you're sitting down and doing like a mensch, then depends on the amount. It's not depend on you. It's dependent on what's the derech. But the surah, the Rosh.
So you say the Rosh could be a pator, meaning the derech could be a pator, meaning if you sat down with a fork and knife with china and ate one beitza, that's for sure not kfiyas suda. But when you're eating more, which should be kfiyas suda, if you eat in a strange way, that could take you out of kfiyas suda. Right? Maybe I hear that. Make that is more mistaber. That is more mistaber. Oh, we have a scum on that. Okay, fine. Baruch Hashem. Fine. Now let's go weiter. Now, fine. I find fine. So what is Pas Haba bekisna? Let's talk about. We've been talking about Pas Haba bekisna. What is it? So there are three examples brought in the Shulchan Aruch in the next Sef Kuf Sayim Chas Zayin, which is based on various Rishonim. The first is based on the Rashba, which says a pas that is what's lashon kisna. Kisna is lashon kiss, pocket. It's a bread that has a pocket. It's filled with, honey or sugar or nuts, all the good zachen. Yeah, don't say that yet. The cheese. Don't say the cheese. Hold on. Hold your horses with the cheese. But filled with all this sweet geschmack stuff. I'm sure jam or chocolate or cherry. I'm not arguing with you on the cheese, but the cheese is going to be complicated. We'll hack the cheese when we get there. But we're talking about like a pie, a cherry pie, chocolate something, filled a dough that's filled with something sweet like that. Croissant, maybe. We're going to see croissants. We have to get croissants. It's going to be very difficult. There's different croissants. Croissants might be the second category. Yeah? So something filled with something. Yeah? So that... Yeah, we'll see. Some croissants have the butter mixed into it, which might be a different thing. Okay, we have the second category. The second category is the Rambam. That's dough or batter that has other things mixed into the dough. The first one was classic dough. The second category is things that are mixed into the dough. And the examples given in the Shulchan Aruch are honey, oil, milk, fruit juice, or spices. I'm sure butter would also be in that example, which is some of the croissants, or milk, whatever. So those things, when things are mixed in, and you have to be able to taste the additives, is what the Shulchan Aruch says. You have to be able to taste what's mixed in. So that would be Pas Haba bekisna. That's what the Shulchan Aruch says. Zak the Ramah, which really is based on the Rashi and Aruch's version of the same basic shita, but it's the Rashi and Aruch's version of the shita. And they say tasting it, being able to taste it in the dough is not good enough. You need more than that. It needs to be lots of that. You need lots of that sweet stuff in there. That's almost the main thing. Like cake. It's almost the main thing. Right? And the cake is the flour, the main thing. Now you have all the different stuff. You have the cocoa powder, you have obviously different cakes, different recipes, whatever. But there's so many other things. It's not just like a dough. It's almost all this other stuff, lots of other stuff is mixed in. Just being able to taste it in the dough wouldn't be enough. According to the Sfardim Mechaber, tasting it in the dough, that is Pas Haba bekisna. According to the Ashkenazim, tasting in the dough is not Pas Haba bekisna. You actually needs to be something that's filled with this. It's like an ikar. So for example, when it comes to a sweet challah, some Sfardim will say a lot of Sfardim won't use a sweet challah because that's Pas Haba bekisna. You could taste the sweet stuff in the dough. But according to Ashkenazim, tasting the sweet stuff in the dough, it's still Homotzi. So therefore you could use that for challah. But if it's mamish stuffed up with tons of stuff, then already you won't be able to use it as you have a cinnamon babka that you can't use as a challah. Going to Ashkenazim maybe. That's more than tasting it. No, if you're kaveh suda in a chanami, but I'm just discussing what's possible bekisna. That would be possible because a mamish stuffed up with tons of cinnamon, tons of whatever. But if it's a challah that's just a little sweet, that would be the machlokes between the Ashkenazim and the Sephardim, between the Ramah. So that's the second category. Category number 3. What is category number 3? Category number 3 is Reb Chai Goyin. Reb Chai Goyin, what does he say? So he says something that's thin and dry, like crumbly, like we're picture crackers or flatbread or pretzels. Something that's like a very dry consistency that crumbles. I think kaisis, like the possible bekisna is like kaisis chew. You need to like chew it a lot, I think, because it's dry, and that would be the lashon of possible bekisna. Fine. Very good, Shayla. The Be'er Halacha brings up that question. Let's just, I'm going to get there in 1 second, actually. I just don't want to lose a point. What about matzah? Does matzah fit into this category? Seemingly, yes. It's just a cracker. It's dry and crumbly. So that's why the Gedolei Sfardim will say that the bracha on matzah outside of Pesach, circling why it changes on Pesach, but outside of Pesach, the bracha on matzah is Barei Minei Mezonos. Whereas Ashkenazim will say that since it's considered a standard bread, and the derech is to eat it for satiating purposes, not for snack purposes, therefore it remains Homotzi. But I saw something very interesting. The Shevet Levi says, throughout the year you should be machmir, not to just have matzah less than a kviya suda. I thought it's quite a Kiddish. It's like one of the oldest classic things in the book. You go to that old man's shul, and they have by Shal Shidduch, they're all giving out the matzah. And nobody eats a lot of matzah, because nobody's interested in eating a lot of matzah. And Zat the Shevet Levi, you shouldn't do that throughout the year. I don't think that's Mekubal Psak. I think the Olam has just a little bit... I'm saying, I don't think the Olam's makbid to have a shir kfiyah suda on the matzah, the bench. I don't think they are. Maybe they are? The Shulchan Aruch says... Kfiyah Suda or the bench? The bench or Kibetza? Kfiyah Suda is times 4.
Exactly, so you have enough to bench.
Right, and Chinami. But I'm just saying whether we're makbid. Once again, no. If you hold it's possible bekisna, you will not bench on you make an al-michya.
But we hold it's matzah.
I understand the Shevet Levi says you should be machmer on the tzad that it's possible bekisna that you can't bench on it. You need to eat 4 kibetzim. It's like the Shevet Levi. I don't think the minhag's like him, but the Shevet Levi says doesn't make a difference. You need the amount. We go like the. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful vart, but it doesn't stay true because we say you need like the rush. You need 4 kibetzim if you want it to be considered kfiyah suda. You might have had we discussed in the past whether you can have al michya for shal shudas. We can have mezonos for shal shudas. We're gonna get the pizza. Don't worry, pizzas. We're gonna get the pizza. But right now, that's the deal with matzah. Fine. Now, as Gilan asked intuitively, it's unclear whether there is no machlokes of the Rishonim, and the Rishonim are giving different types of possible bekisna. And the Shulchan Aruch therefore paskins, by the way, that you could. Any of these, you meet any of these 3 criteria, it's possible bekisna. There's no Homotzi. You're out of Homotzi, you're into mezonos with any of these 3 criteria. Right? Multiple choice. So one way of explaining is that they're not arguing with each other, the Rishonim. They're all giving different types of possible bekisna. There is an alternative way of understanding the Shulchan Aruch and the Rishonim, is you could understand that the Rishonim are arguing with each other. And the Shulchan Aruch is saying, as long as there's no consensus, and as long as you met one of the 3 criteria, Memela, it's a suffix whether you're supposed to bench. So just make a mezonos. Just make a mezonos and al-michya instead of a Homotzi and benching, because you make a mezonos on bread, you're good anyways. And if you make al-michya instead of Homotzi, it's okay. So therefore, it's instead of Berkas Hamazon, I'm sorry, then you are okay.
But if you have a shiur kfiyas, one of the shiur.
Oh, if you had shiur kfiyas, it's a different story. No, if you have shiur kfiyas suda, it's a vade according to everyone. Meaning, if you hold its bread, even for a little bit, you need a bench. And if you hold it's Pas Haba bekisna, then you have to bench anyways because you were Kaveh Suda. So once you're Kaveh Suda, you have to bench Meman of Shach. The Shaila is,
the right shiur,
if it's not the right shiur, so you just make an al michya.
so the kaveh suda means the right amount of shiur.
If you had anywhere between 1 kibetza and 4 kibetzim, right, or lefia gra, 1 kibetza and the normal amount that people eat, right, then you would be chayev in al michya,
Not a bench.
but not a benching. It would be a suffix, and maybe you want to.
If you were kaveh suda, that means
What do you mean kaveh suda?
you're saying it means he has to eat 4 kazes.
I'm really more than that. Really, I'm saying it has to eat the amount that normal people eat, like the gra. That's how the Mishnah really goes. So if he ate that amount, then he has to bench Meman of Shach. Because if it's bread, he has to bench. He had a kibetza of bread. And if it's Pas Haba bekisna, he was kaveh suda on it, and he has to bench. So in the Maisa of the Pashtus is that the Shulchan Aruch, that the Rishonim are not arguing, and the Shulchan Aruch is bringing 3 different mahalchim. Because he doesn't say anywhere you do it from Safek. And there could be nafkaminas and tzvek tzvekas, etc. And he doesn't say it's misafik. He says you have, we're machmer like all of them. So therefore that sounds like they're not arguing on each other. That's not mukhrach, but that's the pashtus. Fine. Now there seems to be, by the way, just the common denominator of all these 3 things is they seem to make it more like a snack food as opposed to a meal type food. That seems to be the common denominator. Now there seems to be, by the way, just another type of mezonos which I'm not going to deal very much on, which also might not exactly be Pas Haba bekisna, but also might not be Homotzi, which is something that does not have tzuras denama, does not have the appearance of bread. Now, what the appearance of bread is very difficult to define because we don't have much indication anywhere what that is. The big shayla where that comes out is wraps. Wraps is where they hack it. Does wraps have tzuras denama? Rav Yosha says it doesn't have tzuras denama, and that is really that is where we have the shayla play out very much. But we're not going to get too involved in the wraps. There's another type of mezonos. The other type of mezonos is it's the pasta. Very good. That's what I want to discuss. The pancake is very similar to the previous. I agree. When it comes to the pasta, so that since it's cooked and not baked, you could eat a truckload of that. You're never going to have to. After you get to the hospital, you don't have to bench. The Kugel Yerushalmi, we're going to get to that. I wanted to pull that in as that's a geschmack apart. We're going to get there, yeah? Huh? The tortilla, that's why I said the wrap. The wrap is the big shayla, as tzuras denama. Okay, fine, let's just get back to this. Shulchan Aruch, Kuf Sameches Yud Zayin. Guys, 10 sifim later, we have something very interesting. You know we have 10 sifim later? It says that there's something called pashtida. What's pashtida? It's like a geschmack of pashtida. What is that? It's some type of bread product that's baked with meat or fish. I don't know the fish I'm not feeling, but meat, fish, or cheese. So we got the cheese here, yeah? And the pashtita, it's this dough that's baked with the meat or the cheese or fish. Each their own. The bracha is Homotzi. The bracha is Homotzi. And you need a bench. So Menachem has a puzzled look on his face. And Menachem, why do you have a puzzled look on your face?
It's a pashtida.
Yeah, why are you puzzled? Huh? Isn't it Pas Haba bekisna? And we just have a Pas Haba bekisna and the brachas mezonos. Now we're saying, make up your mind. Why is a honey pie mezonos and a meat pie is Homotzi? Who cares whether it's a meat pie or a honey pie? Why should one be Homotzi and one be mezonos? Stira. So there's 2 ways of being metaretz the stira. One way of being metaretz the stira is the Taz. The Taz says, really, there's only one category. It's a pie. Okay, so why in Sif Zayin, the honey pie, are we making mezonos? And in Sif Yud Zayin, by the pashtita, the meat pie, we're going to be making Homotzi. So the fundamental difference, the fundamental difference is that type of food is eaten in different situations. You have a honey pie as a snack. So when you have a honey pie as a snack, you generally aren't kaveh suda on it. That's the normal practice. And therefore, the starting off point is mezonos. If you're kaveh suda, then you make Homotzi, but normal is mezonos. Meat pie that's supper. So the South Africans are saying, what are you talking about? You snack on meat all the time. Yeah, not everybody's South African that snacks on meat. So a meat pie, a meat pie, that's a meal. That's a meal. So a meat pie you're going to bench because it's a meal. But really there's no fundamental difference between... Yeah, and economy. But I'm saying that you could see from a raya, you could see a raya that the Shulchan Aruch wasn't South African. Okay, fine. So the Maisa, yeah. So the Maisa, you see, so there's no fundamental difference. Now this Taz is very hard to read into the Shulchan Aruch for a couple of reasons. Because first of all, if there's one category, so why is it separated by 10 sifim? Secondly, it seemingly is calling the honey pie Pas Haba bekisna, and it's calling this pashtita. It's not calling it Pas Haba bekisna. And you're telling me that the pashtita is only Homotzi when you're kaveh suda, and it doesn't say it. It's very hard to read it in. There's two mahal. You can either read it into the Shulchan Aruch, even though it doesn't really say it, or many understand that the Taz is really arguing in the Shulchan Aruch. And he's going against the Shulchan Aruch, and that's what he's holding. There's another way that actually works a little bit better within the Shulchan Aruch, which is the Magen Avram. What does the Magen Avram say? So the Magen Avram says these are different types of foods. There's a snack food and a meal food. When it comes to a snack food, the halach is Borei Minei mezonos. And if you pound that stuff and you're kivei suda, that will bring it to Homotzi. However, a meal type food, even if you eat just a little bit of a meal type bread, but a meal type bread, a meat pie, a meal or a cheese pie, a meal type bread, that would be a Homotzi even for a little bit, because that's a bread type product. And you might even be able to explain further. This is debatable. This hesber that I'm going to give. Bread's standard place is bread products, flour and water products. Their standard place is Homotzi. When you have something sweet, that takes it out from the standard, and therefore that makes it a snack. So now the honey pie is going to be just a little bit. You're going to say it's a snack, but meat pie is still within the standard of the meat of the bread family, and therefore it will be Homotzi. That hesber is not mukhrach, but I think there's some svara to that point. Okay, fine. The nafkamina between the Taz and the Magen Avram is very simple. Nafkamina is when you eat a little bit of a meal type bread. So you eat a little bit of a meat pie. Do you make Homotzi? According to the Taz, no, because you had less than Kfiyas Suda. And according to the Magen Avram, yes, because you had Kfiyas Suda. How do we paskin? So, a lot of people are quick to jump to the Mishnah Berurah, but there are other shittas here. The Kitzur Shulchan Aruch and the Chayei Adam go like the Taz, by the way. And they would say that you have a little bit of a meat pie, the bracha would be mezonos. However, the Mishnah Berurah goes like the Magen Avram, and says even for a little bit of your meat pie, a little pashtita, a little bit of your cheese pie, the bracha is Homotzi lechem min haaretz, and once again, if you had your kibetza, you bench. Fine. Huh? No, even when you're not kaveh suda. Even just like if you have one slice of bread, you'll make a Homotzi and you'll bench. So too, you have one slice of meat pie, one slice of fish pie, one slice of cheese pie, you will bench. Is cheese pie cheesecake? Probably not. Cheesecake is something very sweet. It seems like the differentiation is whether it's a snack food or a meal food. So cheesecake is probably a snack food, and therefore it will not be included. So we'll have to define. I'm thinking yellow cheese pie. Whatever, it's not my speed, but whatever, it's a thing. Fine. More maybe like a calzone. A calzone maybe, but I don't want to get too controversial yet. But it does sound like a calzone. Okay. Now, Lamaisa, what is pizza?
Oh boy, here we go.
What is pizza? So, I would off the bat assume it's a pashtita. What? Why is it a listen? Why is it a pashtita? So, is it a pashtita or is it a standard Pas Haba bekisna? So let's discuss. So, according to the Magen Avram, right? So the Magen Avram is going to judge by is it a snack food or is it a meal food? So what is pizza? Snack food or meal food? To me, it seems pashut that pizza is a meal food. 90% of the time that I eat pizza, it's for lunch or dinner, not as a snack.
Well, it depends how much slice.
No.
One slice.
I'm not saying a situation. Yeah, if you give me a little slip of bread like this and I'm starving, then I'll eat that as a snack too. And you'll have some interesting Israeli bakrim that eat rolls on Thursday night with their cholent as a snack. That's also weird. But
Bring it to Almas people like snack on
it's not most of the time. I want to know in general, what is pizza? In general, is it a snack food or meal food? Be honest, guys. Come on.
Slices is a meal.
I'm not discussing amounts. I'm discussing the food. I don't care about Mogen Avram. I'm in the Mogen Avram. I don't care about amounts. I want to know what type of food is pizza. Max, what type of food is pizza? It's food, meal food. No, it's pasha that it's meal
For
food.
me, it's a sofet.
It's pasha. It's generally meal. You usually have a slice of pizza and then a half an hour later eat lunch.
For sure.
For sure.
Not only me, the majority.
The majority.
No?
European American looks like it's
A slice of pizza is a real.
I'm not talking about each slice. What do you normally eat? You normally eat a slice, or you normally eat 2 and 3 slices?
Nowadays, pizza is like either a guy wants to eat a slice. It's very hard to.
I think it's pashut, but okay, fine. We'll leave it right there for a second. Yes, that's true. That's what I saw brought down.
You go into a pizza shop and you get one slice.
Yeah,
You have a slice, you won't get.
correct. That's what I saw the people bring down.
Most pizza shops today will not sell you a slice.
They will not sell you a slice.
Just the cashless of Rubin.
Pizza store is real normal.
Fine,
The cashless of Rubin.
fine, get us it. All right, fine. Fine. Nice. To me, it's pasha that it's a meal, but I see it's not pasha to everyone. Peseda. Fine. So the Paisei Yisrael understand pizza to be a meal food, and the bracha is Homotzi. That's what the Paisei Yisrael take on. The Paisei Yisrael, it doesn't make a difference how much you eat. Because it's a meal food, and a meal food is a mitzi. Just like you have one slice of bread, you'll make a mitzi. So, yeah. Oh, we'll get there in a minute. We'll get with the messing ingredients and saying. Ramosha famously said, yes, Ramosha Feinstein famously said that one slice is a mezonos, 2 slices is Homotzi. What is the hesber in Ramosha? So I couldn't find the Ramosha. I don't think it's in the Ramosha, or if it is, it's hiding somewhere because I couldn't find it. Maybe it is Ramosha. The Yad Moshe is like a cryptic game. You know what I'm saying? For Hamav Yavin, it's very hard to find stuff in the Moshe. So I couldn't find it. But there's 2 possible ways of explaining Ramosha Feinstein. One way of explaining him is that he's going like the Taz. And it's about amounts, and I don't care what type of food it is. It's about the amount of food, and therefore, if you find it, I'd like to see it.
Sorry, can I just ask a clarification question? Are we talking about if it depends what the dough is made from?
No, right now I'm talking about water dough. We'll get into apple juice in a second. Right now we're starting off normal water dough, water and flour, which is the majority of what's out there. Well, we'll talk. There is a such thing as apple juice dough. We'll get there in a minute. Yeah, so fine. So Ramosha says. So why does Ramosha say 1 slice mezonos, 2 slices Homotzi? So it's either that he's going like the Taz, and it's just about amounts. 1 slice is less than Kviya Suda, 2 slices is Kviya Suda, and we can understand that very well. It's not so usual that Ramosha argues on the Mishnah Berurah and the Magen Avraham, but he does from time to time. So it certainly is possible. Once again, usually when he argues on them, he makes note of it. But since I couldn't find the Igros Moshe, so I don't know if it's a Al Pi Shmua thing or not.
Al Pi Shmua from Ben Zion that he said 2 slices is still the Achilas Harai.
No, you're talking about the Rebelsky version, which is the unpopular version of Ramosha. We'll get there in a second. Fine. So, the other way of explaining Ramosha, or you can understand Ramosha that he goes with the Magen Avraham. But Ramosha says it's not pashtita pizza. Pizza's not a mealtime food. Pizza's a snack. you go, and apparently that's how it used to be back in the day, as we just discussed. Apparently it used to be, you had your meal, and just like you go out with somebody for a coffee, so you go out with somebody for a slice of pizza. It was a treat food, and therefore, if it's a treat food, it's not a meal food. And by May law, it's going to be a like sif zayin, not sif yud zayin, and therefore it's going to be mezonos unless you can be a suda. Oh, you have two slices now, you can be a suda, and therefore you're going to get to that situation. Now it doesn't make a difference, Lamaisa, which one he said, but that's what apparently Ramesh said. Actually, it does make a difference. I take that back. It does make a difference because if you're going to argue like I'm going to argue that nowadays pizza is a pashtita, which I think I'm going to make a pizza shop. I'm going to call it pashtita. I like that. Yeah, if it is a pashtita, the pizza shop, the pizza, and it is a meal type food, then nowadays Ramosha would change his opinion to say one slice. Now we don't know. I don't know which way Ramosha was, how he got to, and I don't know if you guys agree with me that it's a meal type food. But at least the way that I see the sugya, that it's a meal type food, even for one slice, you maybe. It's not a proof to me that Ramosha would say two slices today, but can't prove it the other way either. Now, by the way, Rebelsky is quoted as quoting Ramosha or based on Ramosha. I don't know if it's a quote of Ramosha, but based on the teachings of Ramosha, you need to get to the shiur of what people are kaveh suda on. You need two slices and something, and a side. Whether it's fries, kiddish, something. Two slices and something, because most people eat more than two slices. So that's hakolafia inyan, what people really eat. By the way, the Bir Halacha says when it comes and you're judging what people eat, it's not everybody's the same category. There's, middle-aged people, and then there's old people. Old people eat less. And bepashtus, you'll say, middle-aged people, you got the bracha rishona, Pas Haba bekisna, but you couldn't find pizza, right? Yeah, so I looked out through a couple of them. I didn't find it. No, I didn't see that. Okay, so maybe it's there. So I would assume there's also a difference if you're men, the shiur is larger than for women. I assume the Mishpir doesn't say it specifically, but in Svara that's how it would come out. Let's just finish up over here because we have a couple minutes to Ma'ariv. So Lamaisa, Rabbi Forst said that he doesn't believe Ramesh ever said this because it doesn't make sense. He's machmitz for sure Homotzi, and Ramesh doesn't make sense. I don't believe he said that. That's what Rabbi Forst says. Even though he's pretty well quoted as saying this. So tzarchin. I assume it doesn't exist in English Moshe now that it plays out. Yeah. The Ruru is Ephraim, Rav Shlomo Zalman, Rav Scheinberg, Rav Sternbach. They all say that pizza is pashtita, and therefore even for a little bit of pizza, the bracha would be Homotzi. Now there's another attempt to make pizza mezonos, which is that if you mix instead of using water, you use apple juice. Because the second category of Pas Haba bekisna that we quoted is when you mix into the dough all these other things, and one of the things is fruit juice. If you mix fruit juice in, then that would make it Pas Haba bekisna. However, the problem is the Shulchan Aruch says it needs to be recognizable, the taste, and the Ramah says recognizable isn't good enough. Recognizable, that would still be Homotzi. It has to be mamish. That's like the ikr. That's the everything. That's the taste. It's clearly no sheikhs to the bread. Because there's so much of this other stuff mixed in. It's like the ikr. All this other stuff mixed in. I don't know about you guys, but I never took a pizza and said, "Oh, this is for sure apple juice." Yeah, you ever taste? I don't. Never. You don't taste the apple juice. Oh, I'm going to say that about a mezonos roll as well. I'm going to say mezonos roll with pashtus. It's very hard to argue that a mezonos roll should be mezonos because you don't taste the apple juice.
Yeah, but sweet challah you do.
Sweet challah, yes. So when it comes to the pizza and when it comes to the mezonos roll, it's very hard to argue that therefore it should be mezonos and fit into the second category because you don't taste it, and therefore that attempt is very difficult. And especially a lot of people say the ones that mix in don't really mix in so much, and it's not. I don't know the Metzias, but I've heard the claim. Therefore, that's a very hard attempt for it to become mezonos.
What's pshat with the Eidah? You buy these frozen pizzas, and it's got a big Eidah for Eidah, and at the bottom it says bring in mezonos. So we get there. So therefore, this is not working with this is not working with the Mishnah Berurah. So where are they coming from? So there is a shita of the Marsham. The Marsham says that if it's more than 51% apple juice or fruit juice, even if you can't taste it,
the bracha is mezonos. Now the Mishnah Berurah clearly doesn't go like this marsham. Apparently, the minhag in Yerushalayim is like the marsham.
Why?
Yes, apparently the minhag in Yerushalayim is like the marsham. Even the Mishnah Berurah doesn't go like the marsham. And therefore the Eidah relies on the marsham, and Moshe Sternbach, the great Makel, relies on the marsham to say that the bracha would be bar minim mezonos. The Eidah goes like the marsh, because minhag Yerushalayim, and then we find in the marsham, and you don't need to taste it. But this is not the global law. The Achronim, by and large, were not semech on this marsham. Why Yerushalayim decided to be semech on this marsham beats me.
Yeah, well, why did they?
They probably starving, but they could have washed. They could have washed even though they were starving.
No water, I don't know.
Why did they rely
Yeah.
on the Masham?
So-
What's the reason?
I'm just gonna. I think we're out of time. Maybe I'll take this up after Maariv. Okay. Yeah. So let's conclude about pizza. So to conclude about pizza's like this. According to Rav Poskim, it will be Homotzi because it's pashtita, and they go like the Magen Avram. And the Magen Avram says it's a meal type food, and therefore it is Homotzi. However, we have seen that there is some Poskim, Ramosha Berosh, who's going to say that it is mezonos for one of two possible reasons. Either because they hold that pizza is a snack food, which I don't think is true, but I see there are other people here that do think it's true. Or he's going to say it's true that it's a mealtime food, but maybe he doesn't. Maybe Ramosha does not go like the Magen Avram and Mishnah Berurah. Rather, he goes like the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, the Taz, Kitzur Shulchan Aruch Chayei Adam, who say that if you have even a pie, even if it is a meal type pie, but any pie that you don't have the shiur of Kfiyas Suda, you would make a mezonos. But one thing that everybody has to realize, the other possibility, as we said, a reason for mezonos is if it's mostly apple juice that's used as the liquid. We said Lefi the Shulchan Aruch, Mishnah Berurah, and Roy Poskim, it would still be Homotzi, but there is a Shitas Marsham, which for some reason Minhag Yerushalayim follows the Shitas Marsham, that it would be mezonos. Now, one thing is very clear, which a lot of people miss in the sugya, and what a lot of people miss in the sugya is that even if you're going to say that it is a Pas Haba bekisna, if you are having shiur kfiyas suda, you need to bench. And I think this is a point that people are missing all over the place. You sit down to have a full meal, you have your 2 slices and fries, your 2.5 slices, your 3 slices, whatever it is, you sit down for a normal person size meal. Right? And you eat lunch now, and you didn't run out of food. You ate a normal person-sized meal, then the halacha is you have to bench lekulei alma, according to everyone. Because even if it is Pas Haba bekisna, it's a mefresh halacha, less man the polag, nobody argues, that when you have kfiyas suda on Pas Haba bekisna, you need to bench. Now, what if this is need to what? Well, we'll get there in a second. I said I was specific on my benching. Yes, you need to bench. What happens, and this is a common thing, let's say you're one of those guys. You're one of those guys that are going to be soymich on the Ramosha. I'm going to be soymich on the Ramosha. I'm just going to have 1 slice. I'm on my diet.
Every time. Happens every time.
1 slice. You know what? A half more. No, nobody's gonna eat. Nobody's gonna eat that other half, you know. By the time you've done 5 slices, the question is, right? Now you've done 2.5 slices. Do you have to? What do you do now, right? So,
And at a certain point, you have to wash.
at a certain point, let's say you ate 1.5, and you're like, okay, I see where this is going. What do I do now? Yeah, so Lefi the Mishnah Berurah, the psak is like this. If, let's say, you ate 1.5 and you're eating 1 more, so you do not make another Homotzi because you're only eating 1 more, and that 1 more is not enough to mechayiv you in Homotzi. Once again, if you're working with the shitas, that's mezonos. Now, however, if you ate 1.5 and you're eating another 3, right? You're eating another 2.5 or whatever, then you would stop, you would wash, make a mitzi. Now, either way, you're going to bench. So if you still are eating another kfiyah suda, then you'll stop, wash your hands, Homotzi, bench. And if you're just eating another half, you already ate half a kfiyah suda, and then you're going to eat another half a kfiyah suda. So you made mezonos in the beginning, and you're going to bench at the end.
Yes, to do my machrenim for the
Okay, yeah, my machrenim, sure, why not?
Even if you didn't do
Fine.
it.
Even if you didn't, correct. Fine. Now, one thing to point out, as we said in the beginning, the Mishnah Berurah said that in a case where you are eating something which is at least a suffix Pas Haba bekisna, so even if you're going to go with the Moshe and say that pizza is a vadai, that you're going to go with pizza is Pas Haba bekisna, you're going to rely on the Moshe against most of the Rishonim. You have to be masking that it's at least a suffix lechem. So the Mishnah Berurah says by suffix lechem, you vade should be machmir not to have 4 kibetzim. So you shouldn't have 4 kibetzim of pizza, which will get you in trouble. So according to the Kazayas book, a slice of pizza is between 6 and 8 kazesim. So meaning your average slice of pizza is a drop less than 4 kazesim. So pretty much you can't have more than a slice of pizza without getting yourself into that suffix of the Mishnah Berurah. Once again, the way that I learned the sugya, I think it's Homotzi mimanavshach. But even if you go with the Rav Moshe, if you're following the Mishnah Berurah, you wouldn't be allowed to have more than one slice without getting yourself into this suffix benching zone. So you have a little bit more than one slice. Get to the 2, go all the way. Get the 2, 2.5. Don't have one in a little bit, because then you're going to get into that suffix of Mishnah Berurah. Fine. Now, what if I have a combination of Pas Haba bekisna and other foods? They'll come together to reach that shiur. So the Sephardi poskim say, don't worry, this is a good one. The Sephardi poskim say, we only count the Pas Haba bekisna. We don't count all that other stuff. I don't care that you ate other stuff. We only count how much mezonos, how much Pas Haba bekisna you ate. And if you ate 3/4 of a shiur Pas Haba bekisna and a gazillion other things, you do not need to bench. The Mishnah Berurah brings the Magen Avram.
It could also go like that according to them?
I don't know. The Mishnah Berurah brings the Magen Avram that the Pas Haba bekisna is mitzaref with other foods that are melafves pas. Other foods that shemalafves pas are mitzaref with the Pas Haba bekisna to reach the shiur. So therefore, Moshe says, you want to hear a Kiddish of Moshe? No, you probably don't want to hear it. Rav Moshe says, when you go to the wedding, and if you don't want to bench, don't have cake at the shmorg. Because you have a piece of cake at the shmorg, and that's less than kfiyah suda. But when you have all the other gittin zachen at the shmorg, you're going to get yourself up to kfiyah suda, so that's you're going to have to bench. Because the possible it is mitzdarf. Once again, the Magen Avram, Mishnah Berurah quotes the Magen Avram that's mitzdarf. We're going to see these different ways of understanding this Mishnah Berurah, but the way that Rav Moshe understands it is straight up it's mitzdarf. So you had a piece of cake with your steak and sesame chicken and sushi and all the works with one piece of cake. So after Moshe, you got a bench. So avoid that. Wow. Now it seems to be the pashtus of the Mishnah Berurah. Now it happens to be. So you're right. There are poskim that say that we only count to. No, but it's not hard to get to the shiur for ala michia. Is not hard. He only counts the flour. He doesn't count the cocoa. He counts the flour, but it's not so hard to get the ala michia. And you don't need all the other stuff to get the kfiyah suda in Moshe. Moshe says all the other stuff is mitzdarf. Huh? You just need to get the one kibetza. You just need to get the one kibetza. You have 3 reglach, you're good. 4. Whatever. Depends. Not all reglach are the same size, but whatever. And not all of them have the same amount of. Whatever. Each lefi, Okay, fine. So, what are we going to do about Kiddish now with Rav Moshe? Did Rav Moshe just say that when I have all my potato kugel and all my this and all that, and my 2 pieces of cake, I have to bench? Rav Moshe just ruined the Kiddish. Okay. So according to Rav Moshe, by the Kiddish, you have a little cake. You have some cake, some ruglach, and then you have potato kugel and the herring and all the good zachen and the meat boards and whatever. You have to bench because everything's mitzdaref to kfiyas suda. So you had some Pas Haba bekisna, and you had a total food intake of kfiyas suda. You're gonna have to bench. So you should avoid that, according to Rav Moshe. So don't worry, we'll have other opinions. So is there a heter not to bench? Don't worry, Rav Moshe's here for his coolest, right? Chol of stam, shavers, yeah, fine. So Rav Shlomo Zalman said, no. A kiddish isn't kfiyas suda. A kiddish is a snack. Now, does this Rav Shlomo Zalman help us? Now, I know what a kiddish was like in Shari Chesed 20 years ago. And I don't know what it was like 35 years ago. But I know what it was like 20 years ago. It didn't look the exact same thing as a kiddish in the Five Towns in Lakewood today. They wouldn't look exactly the same. So I'm not sure whether it's fair to apply the Rav Shlomo Zalman that a kiddish is just a snack. That's not a kfiyas suda. I don't know whether it's fair to apply that to all our Kiddishim. You know what I'm saying? But where do you draw the line? That also, I don't know where to draw the line either. I'm thinking probably where you need to draw the line is if the focus, the goal of the Kiddish is to eat a little something. We'll get there in a second, yeah? If the point of the Kiddish is to eat a little something in order to stall into the meal. I want to have my meal in 2 hours, an hour and a half. Now I want to eat so I could learn, I could hang out, I could schmooze, I could whatever. It's to push me off. Then the Chayr of the Shlomo Zalman would apply. But if this is eating in its own right, then it's hard to apply the Shlomo Zalman, that it's just a snack. But that's not mukhrach, but that's what I think. The Aruch HaShulchan, he justifies the eating at the Kiddish, and he says, no, you just eat standing by the Kiddish. You just munch on a little something standing, and therefore it's not a kviyas. Well, I know a lot of Kiddishim in a lot of places you're sitting down and having a whole big thing. Not simple if you could apply this. By the way, this is why there's something called Yerushalmi kugel. What's Yerushalmi? Oh, the noodle kugel, right? What do they call noodle kugel, Yerushalmi kugel? Well, those of us in Yerushalayim know the reason why they call that noodle kugel Yerushalmi kugel is because you go to Yerushalmi Kiddish, and what are they going to have there? They're going to have, the only mezonos that they're going to have at the kugel is Yerushalmi kugel. Why? Because they're scared of this Magen Avram. And we said that this type of mezonos doesn't count. You could eat as much you could eat the whole, those massive Yerushalmi pots of Yerushalmi kugel that have you could eat that whole pot. And when you get out of the hospital, you don't have to bench from eating the whole pot. Because anything that's cooked.
And you Yotze Kiddish on it?
Yes. Yotze Kiddish. It doesn't need to be Pas Haba bekisna, it just needs to be mezonos.
Yeah, for Kiddish.
Yeah, it just needs to be mezonos.
That you could be kaveh suda or whatever?
Yeah, I don't think you need to be able to be kaveh suda.
The
I hear what you're saying, it's interesting. The Gra holds you need Homotzi.
You're right, you're probably right, because you could also be kaveh on a review, so yeah, I agree.
And the end. So, but this you'll never get to share suda, and that's pshat in Yerushalmi kugel. Now, it wasn't by chance that they're eating that stuff. Now, Beseder. By the way, these heterim of the Aruch HaShulchan of standing and the Shlomo Zalman of snack, it's a chiddush because once again we generally hold like the Rosh and the Rashba that we judge by the amounts. We don't judge by the type of action and intention of the individual. So those psakim are quite a chiddush. L'maisa, Rav Shlomo Zalman and Nissen Krelitz say it's only mitzdaref. This is really the better heter for the kiddush. Rav Nissen Krelitz and Rav Shlomo Zalman say it's only mitzdaref, the bread products or the cake, with things that you eat with it. Meaning like what? Meaning malafas b'yasapas. So the crackers are going to be mitzdaref with the herring. If you had enough crackers and herring that is the shiur kfiyas suda, and you pounded that stuff, you'd have to bench. But if you had cake and then you had meat board, that's not mitzdaref. Those are two separate categories. There's cake and meat board. They're two separate things, and they're not mitzdaref, and you won't have to bench. Rav Moshe didn't hold this way. Rav Moshe held that the cake and the meat board are mitzdaref. But Rav Nissen Krelitz and Rav Shlomo Zalman say only if they're eaten together. So crackers and herring, that is mitzdaref. meat and meat boards and cake is not mitzdarf. And I think the minog is seemingly like the Renis Karelitz and the Rishon Zalman, that they're not mitzdarf, and you don't have to bench even when you got to share Kfiyah Suda together. However, if you're having a festive big Kiddish, it seems to come out that it's definitely a meila to wash and have a roll before having that big Kiddish. I'm not saying it's a chiv gomer, but it's certainly a meila to wash, have that roll, and have a proper suda to avoid any of these shaylas. And that is the sugya. I hope everybody enjoys their pizza. I hope everybody enjoys their Kiddishim, makes the proper brachas before and the proper brachas after. And Lamaisa, benching is not so bad. It's pretty good. It's not so bad. Okay, Rishon should enjoy.